want to talk about race and race personality. You see, we come into this life. We come into this life as these beings that, or we exist in a universe that is based on the duality. This duality is can be understood and seen from the outlook of from an outlook of. Hold on one second. Okay, from an outlook of male and female energy. So every life form that incarnates ultimately is going to find its collective um, taking on traits of male and female principles. So we're looking at gender itself. Gender itself is that, but not just gender, pretty much any orientation. And in this case, any orientation and any life form, every life form, is existing essentially in the essence of male and female form. And so, race is no exception. Race is no exception. So I'm just going to let you know that white people and black people, especially, is existing in this state of kind of a male and female duality, having energies and characteristics, principle that is either dominant in male and female energy. White people are dominant with their personalities mostly in male energy, and black people personality collectively is more related to female energy. I'm gonna eat and then I'll continue on that. So I think I stopped off saying that white people are more with their personalities, that is, are more has more male energy than black people have more female energy. And why is this? Why is this? Well, initially we could say that coming into this life, incarnating in the life, as white people to experience being white and what's that going to bring. Then it was a an intention of the universe itself. We could look at it that way, maybe, or the way white people are socialized. Culture is a big thing, and what are these factors in the culture that would be causing white people to carry and to like um, I can't even say exude because exude suggests that people in general are perceiving this. But I'm going to say exude because that's how I perceive it right now. And is like carrying and embodying energy that is more related to male and masculine energy. Um, Freak. I have a coaching session in what is causing this? In what are the factors in the culture? Okay. I used to know these things from the top of my head. For one, white people are, let me see if I could ask this client to push this thing to. White people are, um, okay, I'm just going to be here until I get my answer or talk about something else until I get my answer. How are white people socialized? I used to know these things from the top of my head. Okay, now one reason is white people. Um, White people are seen as, let me start here, as like the standard for beauty, right? And in one of my videos, one of my most popular video, I explained that validation for looks, is really serving the male brain, the right brain, um, aspect of the human being. So the way white people are perceived and the way they perceive themselves initially um, is going to somehow validate that part of themselves. And that is going to cause their energy and their essence and their being to shift into a more male white right brain hemisphere oriented um, mind state, mind frame, um, beingness. So that's one thing, or that's not one thing. I need to continue on this. Um, so after that happens, you have you have um, it continues to build their personality because now they go into a more left brain kind of a thing, and it becomes um, because their personalities become very like structured, very like linear, and this is why white people tend to seem like they have more order in their community than the black community. Black people are more um, black people are more I don't want to use the word chaotic, but because black people are more left brain people, and that's more um, connected to the emotional capacity of the self, um, and being very expressive emotionally and more sensitive, should I say, because there's no such thing as one person being more emotional than the other. We all have the same emotions, just at different degrees. Now, um, black people, not black people, white people, um, they come across as more structured because this is one reason, coming from the beauty validation thing. What else is there? Um, there's a way, because of the way they perceive themselves. They perceive themselves to be um, a certain way that causes a certain validation, and that validation starts to serve at, if it's gonna rain, so it's dark in here. That validation tends to shape their personalities in being very um, kind of a masculine type. And so, because of this, and so now white people, maybe I wrote those things down in my, I have a book there. So now, okay, so what is that noise? Oh, I think I know what it is. When I hear certain noises like horns and stuff, it makes me feel, like life is ending. It makes me, it sounds like a warning. And sometimes it is. Sometimes the universe is trying to warn you of stuff. And the warning is because I know that I have to make certain steps, to change my life. It scares me that I have to, that I hear when I hear these things. Anyway, now let me go into because right now I'm lost for words, and let me go into the way white people are socialized and the way they raise their kids. Um, White people raise their children in a way where, because so many white people are like rich and some of them are like middle class. The majority of them are not poor. You know, it causes, there's certain things that comes with that. It's like having a babysitter and that kind of shit. You know, you have a very okay. So something is coming in now. You have the mothers who are because they're a part of that culture, who become very masculine, carry a certain masculine energy also. And I'm not saying that white women are masculine per se. It's just that certain parts of their personalities and their essence becomes um, have a masculine way of being. I'm not necessarily speaking of femininity or masculinity again, as far as women are concerned. When I'm talking about white women here, I'm talking about the fact that I think today I should have done more venting. I should have really like yesterday I did a venting video of involving my family and how they're making me feel. I think the amount of pain I'm in relative to what I need to do and what I'm doing, I need to share it with other people, not to make them miserable, but just to make me less lonely in the pain. So if they have white people are rich enough to afford like babysitters and stuff, they leave the child with a babysitter and God, where did my knowledge go? And so now a babysitter is replacing the mother. So you don't have you don't have that nurturing energy going on. I mean, and black women and black people tend to be more nurturing than white people are. Okay, white people are, the way they think and carry themselves is a very masculine way of being. The way they the entertainment that they prefer. The way they talk, the way they dance or can't dance. Um, the way they express themselves. It's very the energy is very tight. It's not as free flowing as black people are because black people are more free spirited people than white people. And I'm not trying to put white people down. I'm just stating what I observe. Okay, and it's true. I mean, it don't take no kind of a expertism to see that. You know, black people um, are more to the left brain side of things. This is one reason why black people are, they develop skills related to the arts, dancing, singing, making music, and even sports. Sports has a lot of masculine energy in it for sure. I mean, everybody would agree to that. But the fact that sports is not as directly related to things like, let's say, academics and that kind of stuff, it still holds this kind of a feminine essence in that sense. So 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 when you talk about white people versus black, if you get the chart, or not the chart, the brain hemisphere thing that lists the different traits from for on each side of the brain. Yesterday, I really went in as far as talking. Like, I think I really need to express myself that way even more. You know, but going back to the whole looks thing, and how did the, because some people might argue that, well, white people didn't always have weren't always rich, and didn't always have babysitters and that kind of stuff. It's because maybe as far as we could go back, maybe the amount of white people that were rich way back in ancient days were not um, was not half as much as the amount of white people who are rich today. So um, that causes um, the fact that still there were probably more white people who were rich um, back then than today, and maybe some proud black person is gonna come tell me, "Oh, that's bullshit," because we were rich in Egypt and we were kings and all these stuff. And to reiterate what I think Joe Rogan said, that made a whole lot of sense. I don't know why black people didn't think about this before they opened their mouth and say this shit. That there's no such thing as kings. You only have one king, okay? And maybe you have throughout history you have different kings ruling in different times, but most for the most part it's only one king. So I don't know who this whole "we were kings" come from. It's so stupid. It's a stupid argument. And I'm not saying that maybe black people weren't there weren't black kings. I'm not saying that either, because there were black empires that, whether in West Africa or Egypt or North, South, East Africa, um, or somewhere else in the world. I don't know. There were black empires, and whether those people, whether they were very poor tribal people, I'm sure they had kings. But there was only one king in one, at least in one village or in um, one country or one area. You can't have a bunch of different kings. That's like having a bunch of prime ministers and a bunch of presidents. Stupid. Oh my god, I hate that that didn't cross my mind, and I hate that I'm being a hater. Right? I hate that I didn't think about it before Joe Rogan. That's my God complex coming out. Okay, so yeah, it makes a lot of sense. But I'm just saying this to say that the fact that I know how wealth tend to roll down generations, I would have to say that still, as a very far back, maybe not as far as back to the first day of the world. Maybe white people weren't rich then. Maybe white people didn't exist then. Still, they had to have been rich for a very long time. And some people might say, well, they stole it. I'm not talking about what was stolen and what wasn't stolen. I'm talking about what people had, okay? That's besides that my point right now. White people steal shit. I'm sure they did. Uh, in fact, yeah, they did steal some shit. And not everything that is claimed to be stolen by white people were actually stolen by white people. Sometimes y'all stretching shit. Sometimes y'all are really stretching it. But did white people steal stuff? Yes. But they didn't steal every damn thing y'all said they stole. sometimes they had shit. I'm sure they had shit that was originally theirs. Not everything is y'all, black people. Jesus Christ. Anyway, um, what was I saying? Yeah, so as they must have had wealth. Maybe not. It wasn't as widespread as it gradually became throughout the centuries, but it had to have been. White people must have been rich for centuries for them to for it to trickle down generations, and whether they stole it or not, or they got it from slavery or not, they had it is what I'm talking about. So the fact that they had riches. Oh God, here's that noise again. They had riches. It caused that part of the culture to structure the patriarchy, to structure the masculine essence in the even the smaller amount of people who white people, excuse me, white people who were rich in ancient days. And as more white people get richer, then the that essence kind of trickle down with the wealth too. It's like people adopt people adopt certain personalities and certain cultures, certain customs, to fit in with with the bigger, larger society, white society in this case. And so because people are adopting, they are really what they're doing is they're going to be, and excuse me, they the masculine energy that is like forming and creating their personalities is going to infiltrate. Is that the word I'm looking for? Infiltrate. It works. Sometimes certain words sound like it means certain things, but it don't mean that thing. It's like my family was talking about it the other day. The people in my family were saying that the word ignorant, because there were some people in the culture that use the word ignorant in place of like a word like aggressive, or what's the word that suggests that somebody is difficult and loud and belligerent and like aggressive and hard to deal with. That you know they're saying that the word ignorant sounds like that, because some people were using it in that sense. And I thought about it a while back too. It works, but that's not what ignorant means. So you know unless you want to sound ignorant, you use ignorant in that context. Anyway, uh, yeah. So I'm trying to explain this stuff the best way because I'm not. Yesterday I was on like a roll. Like yesterday I really spoke, man. Yesterday I really expressed myself, and it was so fluent, if I could use that word. It was so free flowing. I had very little inhibitions, very little things holding me back from um, from speaking and expressing myself and finding my points and finding my philosophies and remembering some long lost philosophies that I had. You know, I, every now and then I feel like the universe is not telling me that I have to freaking that I have to speak about my philosophies and stuff in front of my family. He didn't answer it, so whatever. Um, yeah. Every time now and then I feel like the universe is telling me that. But then it feels as though Every time I get to a good place, it seems like it's telling me that I don't have to do that. That what I need to do is probably express my deepest feelings and my deepest hurt and become more soft and talk to them in a certain way so they understand what I'm saying and express myself and my feelings in that way. And if I have to express my higher self to them, then I do that. Fuck, I think I'm gonna have to do it. Bro, in a few days, everybody's coming and it's gonna be a million times harder. Because people are gonna start fucking with me. But, I have to remember that there were people who became teachers and they didn't really express anything to their families. They just went around their merry way and expressed stuff to other people, or they just find a way to create a platform. you know I hate that it seems like I'm being told to do this because still feels impossible. I did a lot of healing on myself this morning. I um i i went into the feelings and the fear of embarrassment for being a weirdo and being perceived as a weirdo, and it brought me to a good place. But when you do your healing on a specific thing, if you don't take action on it, you might get to a place where you felt like that healing was not done, because the action, it serves as like a way to, like, a icing on the cake kind of situation. Like, it's there to, like, it's there to seal the deal, if you will. you know and when I'm sitting by myself, I feel like I could just do it, and I start talking to myself and I feel like I'm doing it, and then I fall back into a place where, maybe I should just learn to forgive myself, because there is no perfection to get to in this life. And the fact that, you come into this life and you become so fragmented, you become very fragmented, right? You know, those fragments, they don't go away. You just kind of heal them into the highest version of themselves, right? And if that's the case, then I'm always going to be dissociated. I'm always going to be, to some degree, um, I just got a voice just came to me. I'm not saying it's some angel or God, or it could be it's my higher self. I mean, either way, it's my higher self to pray it away. Now, I was praying a lot the other day, but now I started to dim my voice again when I'm praying, because I'll go to the back of the house to pray outside, around 6 o'clock, 6:30 every evening. And man, I don't know. I felt like it was pretty good. Um, I don't know, because I keep getting signs that I should become brave and do it. Brave and do what? How do I approach this? How do I do this? After that, just go to my family and just talking to them about some higher knowledge stuff randomly. You know how awkward that is? But that's the thing. The awkwardness I'm afraid of. And my pride. Because there's people who do this stuff. There's people who are so weird and so not afraid of being weird that they just do that. And they just do it. They just freaking do it, man. But I find it um not impossible, but almost impossible now to still impose on people like that. And it's coming from this belief that people don't have time for me, and people don't want me, and people don't value my time. I there's so much trauma that I had to deal with in my childhood that gave me those beliefs, and it's like made my life a living hell because I'm so sensitive. They cut deep, and those trauma went deep, and so they affected me for a very long time in a very big way. Because the more sensitive you are, the more affected you are, which means the bigger the trauma is going to be. I don't know, man. I just feel I get if people that it's like there's a couple of people that I want to hear from. One particular person, I'm not going to call her name, who she teaches very similar things to me. If I hear from her, I would feel very like, oh my God, this is all I needed. Because her teachings and her perspective and her level of knowledge is connected to the gods. I'm not kidding. It's like it's like she's channeling the universe. It sounds crazy, but really that's the perspective she has is that, and the reason why I could trust her so much because we teach so much similar things and we have such similar perspective. And so that caused me to know that somebody like her who has more knowledge than me and trust themselves way more than I do, that I could really trust her word because pretty much everything she says resonate. There's hardly anything she says that I disagree with. And there's things that I've known all my life, but because I had self trust issues, I could not really. I could not really trust that. So when she said those very things that I've always believed and known, it really helps to validate. Hmm. But I started talking about white people. Okay, let me see if I sink into this live video world is my oyster right now. And if I decide to just relax and not have an expectations, not force myself to do the right thing, and just freaking be and not and just be allowing and not try to get it too structured, will I be able to tap into that higher part of myself? It's like if I don't, it seems as though if I don't bring it out in front of people, it goes away. And the more I don't do it, the more it go away. And the more I don't do it and go away, the harder it is for me to find it to actually do it. So how the hell do I do this? I mean, this universe set me up for. I could just freaking quit. I could quit. I could quit. But it seems like every time I quit, there's something telling me that if I quit, I die. Because it feels that way. If I quit, what would I be doing? What I could draw, but when I quit this, I feel like it's almost like all my different talents are connected to my one purpose, to this one purpose. And when I quit one, it's like I'm quitting all. It's like I lose motivation and inspiration towards all of them when I lose it in one. The one thing that I would do that I don't feel like I would be bored with is like DJing, being a disc jockey. That's what I thought I would have been doing when I got this calling that I had to, you know, that I, well, it was, well, I've always been downloading information from the universe. But when I got the calling that I should, when I got a confirmation of the calling that I need to go on a spiritual kind of a career, this lady, she was my personal life coach. And she told me, I see you going into coaching. I see you going into coaching. And because I see you going into coaching, it told me that I should start coaching. But the coaching career didn't really take off like I always wanted to, because not only was I afraid and to do these things, truly, I was dealing with a lot of psychic attacks. And after my first awakening, where my vibration was raised up, and I did it mostly with prayer, my vibration was raised up real high. I thought that I would never fall back. But not only did I fall back, but I fell back hard. And like I hit the ground like flat, not running, flat. And I forgot what I was saying. Yeah, there's these psychic attacks that I was dealing with. They really dig deep, because mostly because I'm so sensitive. They dug deep into um, my traumas, and pretty much crippled, paralyzed, and just finished me. And it's crazy because while I was still receiving information, um, I was still receiving information um, from the universe. 3:33. Maybe I should rant and rave again like I did yesterday about my family. Because I thought this video about white people and race psychology and race personality was gonna really flourish. And let me give credit to myself, because I did way more than I could have done a while back. Um, I've done that already. I keep getting this sign telling me to show people who I really am. But I think I've done that with my family. And then I got this sign saying, enough said. Enough said to tell me that I don't need to say anymore. I just need to like commit to this work. But I think my commitment, what helps my commitment is definitely when there's some validation of people having interest in it. But I'm not gonna get that from my family. But I might be wrong, because of the fact that maybe if I say all the right things and it resonates with them. if I say all the right things and it resonates with them, then then they will have to like they're they're gonna like it's gonna show on their faces that it resonates with them, and or they're just gonna have to like fess up, either just with silence or with their words. I doubt they're gonna do it with their words though. What's that going down? Oh, you just show up type of person. Oh, maybe he built these. smell something burning. I don't know what that's about. It's really dark in here. I'm sorry. I need a topic to talk about. I get upset. When I'm upset, I don't know if I should look up some DJing software. I saw DJing software the other day. Virtual DJ, it wasn't always the best, but um, I don't. I think there's one called Tractor, and some other ones. I prefer virtual DJ better because the way it's set up, it has this. Oh, look at that! Are you gonna ask me for money? It's not for free, so what's going on here? See if I can still download it. I can't believe how dark it is. I can't believe how dark it is right now. It's very dark right now. I'm trying to speak in my Jamaican accent without the dialect, so people would understand what I'm saying, and see if I could speak my higher truth through it. Um, yeah. So I want a topic to talk about. Man, I just think I should quit this shit, man. I just think I should quit. What would I do? What do I like doing? Acting. I like the idea of acting. drawing, comedy. I don't know, man. If the universe want me to do what I think they want me to do, I don't know if it's gonna happen. I'm setting my intention for my higher self to come through my Jamaican accent, through my this personality here. There's also something I suffer from, believing that the things I have to say are not so powerful anymore because I don't know. It's like if that and hit me, I know you know the history. Fuck this nigga. It says Windows here. This woman is gonna run her blood pressure real high. That's my sister next door.